Marie. And in this video, I'm going to tell you the timeline of the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers, as according to the Independent newspaper. Now, some of the things in here are strange. Let's have a look. Maybe it was just done wrongly at the time. Or maybe is this the truth? I mean, what is the timelines are always a nightmare, aren't they? You know, timelines, you get timelines and then they change. But this timeline was written on the 27th of March. So a couple of months ago, to be fair. So, you know, maybe there's a reason why things have changed. So let me read it to you. The autistic teenager was last seen by his mother and stepfather. Well, that's not true for a start, because apparently Chris Proudfoot was not there, was he? Chris Proudfoot was not there. So where's that coming from? When he went to bed on the night of the 25th of February. But when his mother went to wake him up for school the next morning, he was gone, she said. He is believed to have wandered off in the middle of the night with a flashlight, barefoot and alone. So the case sparked a major search in Sumner County that searched thousands of miles and lasted more than a week before officials said they were scaling back the ground search to focus more on the investigative side. Well, nothing's come out of anything, has it? Anyway, according to the Independent, below is a full timeline of what has happened in the case to date. Monday the 26th of February, Endangered Child Alert issued. And this was issued, according to the Independent, at approximately 11:17 a.m. by the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. And in that alert, investigators said that Sebastian was last seen earlier that day near Stafford Court in Hendersonville, adding that he was wearing a black sweatshirt, black sweatpants and glasses. What? So was he seen after he left the house then? Where's that come from? Let me just tap into that. So was he? Was he last seen earlier that day? Let's have a look. Yeah, I still think it's confusing, that, isn't it? Last seen that earlier that day near Stafford Court in Hendersonville, and added that he was wearing a black sweatshirt, black sweatpants and glasses. Anyway, Sumner County Emergency Management Agency Director Ken Widener said over 200 people had been dispatched to search for the teenager, including multiple K9 teams, mounted units, helicopter crews and drones. The search team covered a nearly 5-mile radius. I can't recall off the top of my head when the last search like this was. Now, interestingly enough, I was listening to Chris Proudfoot on a YouTube channel, Cluminati, and was it on that they were asking him where would he recommend search parties go, because where do you search? And he said, well, there's been a 5-mile radius search, so I would say search outside that area. Anyway, I'm probably going to look at that interview one day. It's a very, very long interview, but we'll have a look at it. It's Chris Proudfoot. He I don't think Chris or Katie have got anything to do with Sebastian disappearing in a physical sense. I mean, maybe there were problems that resulted in him running off, but I really, really do not think there's any suspicious circumstances, in my opinion. And I think in the police's opinion, because at the end of the day, nobody has been arrested or made a suspect. Anyway, this Chief Deputy Eric Craddock said, obviously, This search is exponentially more important being a child who does have autism. So on Tuesday the 27th of February, an Amber Alert went out, and the TBI announced that the Endangered Child Alert had been elevated to an Amber Alert based on additional investigative information developed during the search. So that's interesting. So what additional investigative information had developed during the search? Now, of course, the TBI, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, they're practically silent on this case at the moment, which is the reason why all the dramas broke out. Because, you know, the family, especially Seth, has been all over YouTube, and then he's been arguing with his previous private investigators, and he's got the new PR guy now, Malevolent Tony the Phony, you know, who I just cannot take to at all. But I think the reason is because there's no news, if you like. So news gets invented, and Seth, you know, to be fair to him, he must be at the end of his tether, getting nowhere, feels like he's getting nowhere. I feel like Seth doesn't have enough help from the authorities. But then Chris Proudfoot again was saying in the interview that he gave that, you know, Seth was getting the same information that they were getting, but he unfortunately blabbed a lot of it because he can't, this propensity of his to go on YouTube channels and, you know, not be discreet. And that is why, and Seth has said, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation are not talking to him. And they're not talking to him because he can't keep anything to himself, I'm afraid. Anyway, an Amber Alert is issued when there is reasonable belief by law enforcement that an abduction has occurred and that the child is in imminent danger of serious bodily injury or death. So it was changed to an Amber Alert. We have to think about that. Meanwhile, dozens of agencies continued searching for Sebastian and began employing unique tactics such as blasting his favourite song, Eye of the Tiger, while searching in different areas to try and call out to him, the Sumner County Sheriff's Office said. And at a press conference later that day, authorities urged local residents to check their surveillance cameras and report any possible information that could help lead to Sebastian. On Thursday, the 29th of February, the pond was drained, but nothing was found. And as the search entered its fourth day, officials revealed they had received several tips amid calls for people to check their surveillance cameras, but none were confirmed sightings of Sebastian. Emergency Management Agency Director Ken Widener added that search and rescue dogs had not been able to pick up a scent. Investigators also drained a pond to the east of Sebastian's home and found nothing. On Saturday, the 2nd of March, a reward was issued for information. The Sheriff's Office told News 2 that an anonymous group of business owners in the Nashville area had pledged a minimum cash reward of $3,000 for information that may lead to finding the missing teen. The award was raised to $3,500 the following day. Now, you know, we've talked about the reward before. It was very low. It's now been disbanded completely because Seth apparently found out that it was all just promissory notes. It wasn't actual cash. And they're supposed to be looking into another way of offering a reward. Anyway, very confusing that to me. No reward, or practically no reward. Why aren't the family all chipping in? Why, you know, surely 3,500 seems like a very small amount, and that's doesn't even exist now. Monday the 4th of March, the search was scaled back and the parents spoke out, and after a week of searching, authorities announced that they were scaling back the ground search for Sebastian and transitioning to an investigation. This does not diminish our commitments finding Sebastian, Mr. Craddock said during a press conference. This is simply us transitioning from the ground search to the investigative side. He added there were no leads, no details to indicate that Sebastian is not alive. On the same day, Sebastian's mother, Katie, spoke to the media for the first time about their child's disappearance, telling WSMV4, "I just want my baby to be okay. I wouldn't wish this on anyone." Sebastian's stepfather, Chris Proudfoot, said the family had been on one constant roller coaster ride of helplessness and hopelessness since Sebastian vanished. The couple has received backlash, my God, that's one way of putting it, for not speaking out earlier, to which they say they shouldn't be judged because no one knows what they're going through. You don't know, and I don't wish you to ever know, they said. Just be kind to people. It's that simple. Then, this is ominous to me. I still think the police maybe don't think that Sebastian is alive, even though they're saying they have no proof that he isn't. But on the 7th of March, a landfill in Kentucky was searched. In White Plains, Kentucky, where trash was taken from Sebastian's neighborhood in the beach area. Officials called the search of the landfill a precautionary measure to eliminate possible options and questions, and said there was no specific information indicating evidence related to the search for Sebastian was there. The search concluded that evening, with authorities later stating they did not provide any additional clues as to what happened to Sebastian. While we had hoped for a different outcome, our commitment to finding Sebastian remains unwavering, Sumner County Sheriff Sonny Weatherford said. We will continue to explore all available avenues and resources to bring closure to this case and provide answers to Sebastian's family and loved ones. Then on Sunday the 10th of March, the stepfather Chris reveals his fear for Sebastian. What? Oh, they've got this all completely wrong. This is not his stepfather, this is his father. So it was 10th of March before Seth spoke up. In an interview with WTVF, Sebastian's father, Seth Rogers, revealed his fears for his stepson. This is all independent. You need some new journalists, for fuck's sake. Saying he was not one to wander off, and due to an experience as a young boy, he would never go far without shoes on. So it means Seth, the father, his son, not his stepson. He decided he wanted to step into a mound of what he thought was dirt. It was fire ants, and since then he doesn't like to get his feet in the dirt. He likes to have his shoes and socks on, he said of Sebastian's childhood experience. In order for him to do something that's out of the normal, something would have had to happen that he felt like he just couldn't deal with it anymore. During the interview, he also revealed a search dog had traced Sebastian sent to a construction site, but it turned out to be a false alarm. One dog tracked him to a construction area over there and it just disappeared. And it's confusing. There are missing pieces to the puzzle, and I'm having difficulty solving this, he said. Mr. Rogers added that it makes absolutely no sense there's been no trace of him. I'm hoping he's still alive, the father says. That is my main hope right now. So, on Thursday the 14th of March, this home video came out showing these two specks of light. Do you remember that? Outside the family's home around 3 a.m. 3:10 a.m. it says, in the middle of the night when the teenager went missing. However, Sumner County Sheriff's Chief Deputy Eric Craddock told the news outlet that there are several clips that have come in that investigators are reviewing for more clues. Now, remember, these have been sort of rejected, and it said that these were, remember, we watched those clips. They appeared to be people with flashlights moving towards each other before moving off screen, but now people are saying it was the rubbish trucks. You know, there's a lot of, there's been so much conjecture over those videos. On Saturday, the 23rd of March, new resources joined the search. The United Cajun Navy. Well, look what happened to them. That all came to nothing, didn't it? And ended badly. Everything's ended badly. You know, they said they were going to send, because don't forget the Cajun Navy had been were local because they'd been there because of the Riley Strain case. The Riley Strain case unfortunately resulted in finding Riley in the river, though it wasn't the teams that found him, it was somebody who was working on the river. And so then the United Cajun Navy went from there and went straight to help with the Sebastian Rogers disappearance. But that all ended in a, you know, there was like arguments between YouTubers who could stream, who couldn't stream, who was making money off it, not making money off it. You know, it just ended up in a great big mess, like everything has. Monday the 25th of March, the parents spoke in new interviews. In two separate interviews on Monday, Sebastian's parents answered questions about search for him, with his mother saying she had cried on and off for a month. Katie and her husband, Sebastian's stepfather Chris, appeared on Crime Stories with Nancy Grace, in which the host grilled them on their whereabouts. And Miss Proudfoot said she was convinced someone must have her son, as there had been no trace of him so far. Meanwhile, Seth Rogers, Sebastian's dad, appeared on News Nation saying he had not given up hope of finding his son, and he also spoke of communication issues between himself and the Proudfoots. Now, they only went to that because, so when you think about what's happened, so that was a month ago, that article was written. Oh my God, so what has happened since then? Everything, but nothing to do with Sebastian. Well, there's been the missing, there was somebody seen, wasn't there, in South Carolina or North Carolina, who looked like Sebastian. That went on for a couple of weeks. Was it Sebastian? Wasn't it Sebastian? We eventually found it was not Sebastian. Definitely 100% not Sebastian. Then there's been various arguments on various YouTube platforms between, Seth, to be honest, shooting his mouth off, saying, accusing Katie. There's been the lie detector test, supposedly the Nancy Grace one that Seth took and supposedly passed. And then Katie supposedly has passed 2 lie detector tests. Chris Proudfoot has supposedly passed 1. You know, it's been... and then Seth has sacked all his previous private investigators and helpers. He's got angry with someone who was helping in the search, the Trev guy. He's then employed this Tony Mathis, who's some sort of PR guy. And you know what? Again, I was listening to Chris Proudfoot last night, and he's, to be honest, he's not really dishing anybody, but he said the only thing he doesn't agree with is Tony Mathis. He's not a professional PR guy. He said you need someone professional, a lawyer. And look what's happened. It's true, because Tony Mathis was supposed to calm everything down and make things better. He's made things 100 times worse. He's been attacking Chris Proudfoot. He's been, shouting, swearing on TikTok and YouTube channels, and he's alienated all of Seth's previous supporters. and made everything a million times worse. So the sooner he's seen the back of, well, it's just a matter of time. I think Seth will get fed up with him like he gets fed up with everybody. It's just a matter of when, really, not if, but when. So this is where we are, really. There's no, I'm just going to have a look on the Tennessee Bureau, the TBI website, see if they've updated, Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, have they updated anything on there? You get your latest information on there, and let's see. Nothing since the 25th of April. No update from the last time I would have looked at the Sebastian Rogers Amber Alert status. Still just the same. The last post was the 25th of April. So you're looking at nearly a month before they've given any information whatsoever. That's what's causing a lot of. I know they don't have to give us information, but it's causing problems that they're not saying anything. Even if they were just to give a press conference to not say much, which people probably moan afterwards and say, oh, they never said anything in that. But that's what it needs, because people need something to talk about. Everybody's in this case now, or many people are in this case now. They're not going to. So they're looking for information about it, and unfortunately, it seems like when people can't find information, they're just making it up. There's one of the new people that Seth's got working with him. He's called Nina. So I saw some fool on Facebook saying, "Oh, it's Nina. It's Seth is working with Chris Proudfoot's ex-wife, Nina." Do you know this is how crazy it is? This is how mad it is. It's not her at all. It's just. If it wasn't so deadly serious, this poor boy at the centre of it all, it would be hilarious almost. You could make a comedy out of it, but it's not funny. Anyway, I'm going to light my candle. Oops. I just wanted to go through that timeline with you, because when I saw it, and I saw there's so many inconsistencies in it as well. So, but the Independent, they haven't changed it. It's still there as a reliable, supposedly, timeline. This is for Sebastian, prayers for Sebastian. So there was vigil held over the weekend. Looked like it was very, a lot of people went along, and I don't know what these vigils, there seems to be, they've done quite a lot of vigils, but I don't know what they achieve except for getting everyone together. And, the power of prayer is something, isn't it? It's energy going out there. Where is Sebastian? That is the question. Where is he? I don't think any of these people have had anything to do with his disappearance. I think for some reason he's left that house for whatever reason. Something maybe has happened to him. Or the best case scenario is that he was in contact with someone that nobody knew about, because he didn't want to go and live with his dad. I mean, it started off like, his dad, he wanted to go and live with his dad, and he was going to live with his dad. And now it turns out he actually didn't want to go and live with his dad after all, for various reasons. So maybe he ran away. Maybe there was an argument and he ran away. Maybe he did hear something over the phone between Katie and Chris, who supposedly had a 3-hour conversation that night. And I'll tell you what, for any of you who think, who could have a 3-hour conversation? He has a bloody 5-hour conversation when he goes on a YouTube channel. So if you don't think he can have a 3-hour conversation with his wife, because he was working away supposedly, apart from what the Independent says, I think Chris could easily have a 3-hour conversation. I could easily have a 3-hour conversation with someone. So he was on Cluminati for about 6 hours, just talking, and they were talking, and in the end, I think Katie had fallen asleep. It was, so I think 3 hours is nothing. You know, I can do it now. I mean, years ago, I remember doing my first intensive courses in Spanish, because for those of you who don't know, I'm a Spanish teacher, and I was doing intensive courses. A class would be 4 hours long, and I remember thinking, oh God, 4 hours goes like that. I can easily do a stream now for 3 hours, which I couldn't have done when I first started doing YouTube. A live stream, God, I used to be struggling to get to an hour, you know, because I'd be nervous. That was mainly the reason. I'd be nervous and feeling, you know, that I had to, I don't know what I thought I had to do, but I felt sort of nervous about it. Whereas now I relax into it and I just chat into it. It could go on for hours. So there you go. I just wanted to go back to the basics. Back to the basics. Where is Sebastian? Forget the drama. Katie hasn't done anything. Chris hasn't done anything. Or if they did, the police will find out. The police will find out. Not people at home, you know, casting. And now Seth, people are turning on Seth a bit. I never was that keen on Seth from the beginning, to be honest, because I didn't like the way he was, you know, stirring everything up. But now we're seeing Seth's true colours. He's frustrated, he's angry, and so his real personality is coming out. And there's a reason why him and Katie got divorced. So, you know, he hasn't got, like all of us, he's not perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. You know, he's human. But in the beginning, it was all sympathy for Seth and stuff Katie and Chris. You know, at the end of the day, Katie is Sebastian's mother. And if you think she doesn't care about Sebastian, I think you're completely wrong. I think she does care about Sebastian. I definitely think she does. Anyway, that's my 3 pennyworth. I'm sure there'll be lots of you out there who'll give it. And, you know, please go ahead with comments. I don't mind if you don't agree with me. Just be, you know, polite in your comments about people, because what do we say? We say attack the argument, not the person. You know, that I don't want nasty things going on the comments and that. And, you know, sometimes just be aware. Yeah, everyone's innocent till proven guilty. That could be you one day, that everybody's accusing of this, that, and the other, and without any proof. So just bear that in mind. Okay, well, thank you for listening, and I will see you really soon, as always, in the next video. And until then, prayers for Sebastian, and may your God go with you. Bye.